he can get the attention of a team very quickly and get them moving in the right direction. And that is our hope once again. We turn to him to help us in a very difficult time. Welcome back, Jack.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say, Jack?
Yeah, I want to say a few things today. Nice to see all you guys again. It's great to be back. I had, a little siesta, a few years. When the people called and asked me to come back, and they've been so good to me and so loyal to me during my stay here, I just couldn't turn them down. And I think we got a club. I got a club. They showed us early in the year that this club can win. And now we've run into some tough times, and we just got to, kick a little butt and get a little more aggressive and play the game the right way. And I'm very confident that there's enough talent in that room to maybe, and if we can get things right, play in October.
Questions? Jack, when you were introduced in May of '03 to become manager, you said you're not a miracle worker. Team won the World Series, obviously.
Well, I'm not a miracle worker either this year either, but just hope some of that magic can stay with us.
Jack, what do you see that this team needs to do to turn it around?
We need to have some fun. I see this club as a club that's pressing a little bit. They're not having fun. I want them to come out and enjoy coming to the ballpark. When they leave the ballpark and they bust their tails and give 100%, they can hold their head high, and regardless of what you guys or anybody else says, they can walk out of that clubhouse knowing I gave my best shot. And that's all I want out of these guys, is give me the best shot. There's a lot of talent here, and we just got to develop it.
Jack, when you left in '05, did you think in your mind that was it as a manager, that you would never have an opportunity like this again?
I don't know. Well, sometimes you get frustrated and wore out, and I've always liked to manage, and even after I laid out a year and a half or 2 years, then I started to miss it. But I was comfortable doing what I was doing.
Jack, it's a historic drop that this team is in the middle of right now. How does that happen?
Beg your pardon?
How does it happen? Such a historic drop that this team is in right now. Of all the years of
Why are we so bad right now?
I didn't want to hear that question.
No, how do you go from so good, in a sense, to so bad?
Well, every club goes through streaks, and this is probably a little bit longer than we all wanted to see, but clubs go, you go back to 2003, and as I want to tell these guys later on, you got to remember about this time of the year, we were 10 games under 500 as well. And they all put it together, and that club there was one of the most unselfish clubs that I've ever managed, and I hope I can get these guys to respond the same way and play unselfish baseball, doing the little things and knowing how to win.
What was the first thing you did, if you can remember, what was the first thing you did in 2003 when you met with the team?
Well, the first thing I did is tell them to leave their egos at the door, and let's change our work habits and be a little more dedicated to being the best of the profession. And it worked.
Jack, people around the country will see this news. Jack McKeon, 80 years old, takes over Marlins, and I think some of them will say that's crazy.
Well, they probably said the same thing about Joe Paterno, and he's going at 85. I look at it this way: why should experience get penalized? I mean, the 80 doesn't mean a thing. I'm not 80. My birth certificate says that, but I'm not 80. But, heck, if you enjoy what you're doing, love it, good health, capable of going out and doing a job, I'm all for it. Why should it penalize us?
Do you have to make any concessions at all to age doing this job now, at this age? Were you any differently than you would when you were, say, 50?
No, don't forget, you guys got to remember, we all sat in this room and said that in 2003 I was too old. Now I'm still too old, so, But, age is just a number. And, I'm rooting for Paterno to go to 90. Maybe I can catch him.
Jack, in terms of a big problem here has been runners in scoring positions and the lack of hitting in those situations. In terms of improving that, will you pull out all stops? Will you bench starters if necessary? Will you shuffle lineups? What will you do to improve that hitting with runners in scoring position?
Well, first of all, I'm going to discuss that with them later on. You know, I don't have a bat in my hand. I can't, you know, when them guys are at the plate, they're on their own. It's the pitcher and that hitter. I just hope that they realize how important it is to do the little things to win ball games, and that's the thing I got to impress upon them.
Jack, you've been around this team a lot, even though you've been gone, you've still been around them. Does this team need an attitude adjustment? Is there something about the attitude that you're playing that they've hit this slump?
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been that close to them, but I know that sometimes when you get, you know, into a losing streak, it becomes contagious, and you get a little bit frustrated, and you start playing outside yourself. We want these guys to start playing back within themselves.
Jack, have you been around Hanley Ramirez enough to know maybe what you can do to help him get back to where he used to be?
Well, I've had a pretty good relationship with him, but not you know, not on a manager-player relationship that sort. It's going to take some time. I need to get to know him a little bit better.
Have you seen anything from him this year, just from observing from the outside, that you think he's doing differently that you can help him get back to?
No, it's hard to say. You know, I can't pinpoint anything right now.
Jack, who did you talk to around the game? Anybody around the game in the last day or so when you had to think about this in terms of should I do it or not? Did anybody say, you know, maybe you should think twice?
No, not really. The last time, you know, my family and kids were against it, but I guess they see me around the house watching television, you know, 12, 15 hours a day watching ball games, and they kind of were in agreement, go ahead. My wife probably was happy to get me out of the house. I miss my buddy, my dog, though. That's the only one I miss.
Back here in the back, this is also for Larry, too. What's the goal from here on out? Is it playoffs? Is it back to 500? Is it improvement? What's the goal, the overriding goal for the rest of this season?
Well, you know, as anybody would say, you come into the season wanting to get the playoffs. That's the number one goal. And, of course, in order to get to the playoffs, you got to get to 500. And if I recall going back to 2003, that was the one thing I preached all along. Guys, let's get back to 500. When we get back to 500, we'll roll. And exactly that happened. But hopefully that, you know, the same message will happen again, and we can have some fun again.
Do you worry at all that you can't relate to some of these younger guys? It's difficult for someone that's 80 to relate to the 21-year-old, 23-year-old, or is that not an issue?
You know, I don't think that's an issue. I don't think it, you know, you got to remember, I have grandkids, I've had kids, I've managed these same type of players in the minor leagues for years. So I don't see any difference. I mean, I think sometimes it's blown out of proportion, you know, generation. Yeah, maybe I'm not hip with the Twitter or the Facebook or stuff like that, you know, but outside of that, you know, I don't have any problem with disciplining my kids or disciplining these players.
Just to get the age thing out of the way, it was not a factor. It keeps on being brought up. Jack McKeon is not old to us. To 80 years old is just a number. So when we had our discussions yesterday, it literally was not a factor. People who are 80 years old can do the same job, if not better, as people who are 70, 60, 50, 40, and 30. His work ethic is 5 times better than half the 40-year-olds I know. And he is more sharp. When I first met him, he literally didn't know anybody's name, including Jeffries, and I found him to be strangely not sharp at 72, worrisome almost in 2003. And now at it's true. And at 80, he's frankly sharper than half the other people we have working with us. So to us, age was not a factor, never discussed.
Thanks, George.
Jack,